I think the first thing is you need to have some sort of mental calming routine where you can calm your
Mhm.
anxiety. And not all of the time you can calm it all the way. And I've had my own sort of things. I'm not saying, I can always calm myself. I'm like this, but you have to have it. I was lucky that when I was very young, when I was 13, there were some folks who came to my high school and taught us meditation. And so I was probably one of the few kids who, from the age of 13 till 15, practiced meditation every single day. Then 15, I stopped, and then I picked it up again, I think in my late 30s. And that sort of whole journey of being a meditator has been very useful for me. That's one of the places I can go to. It gives me calm and peace. So that's one. I think the second thing is really surrounding yourself with people and with people that you can be vulnerable with, right? And that may change over time, but you need to be able to do that because if you don't have that as an entrepreneur, at least a few trusted sort of places, because it's a very lonely job as an entrepreneur, as a professional, as a piece. That's the second thing, because sometimes our own psychology becomes works against us, right? We're sort of putting ourselves, creating blocks that shouldn't exist, thinking about things that shouldn't happen. And then the third thing is thinking that someone else's life or someone else's psychology is in any way any different than yours. I feel like this is one of our core philosophies at Poshmark. We call it embrace your weirdness. But the core thing there is that I could be looking at you, right? And you could be looking at me, and you might be like, Manish must be fairly normal. What is on his mind? And I'd be like, Alexandra is perfectly normal. She seems to be just having a great time. And you could be looking at another person. But I'm sure if we boarded our mind, the kind of craziness that's happening in my mind and your mind and everyone else's mind is insane. And if somebody was able to broadcast that, we'd be like, oh, they're all equally weird and equally screwed up, right? And so the most normal looking person, the more sort of whatever you might say, traditional, mainstream, is going through the same kind of anxiety and issues in a different way than you are, than somebody else is. So just remembering that allows you to embrace other people's weirdness. And in that acceptance is a lot of growth and the opportunity. And the last piece is that I believe in every person, in every opportunity, in everything exists the potential for greatness. And so the way I kind of talk about it is that the greatness is not in the object of the person, the greatness is in the beholder, right? So if you look at something, you can take it to a whole new level. So somebody might look at a coffee cup and might think it's a coffee cup. Somebody might look at a coffee cup and see the opportunity to create a coffee cart. Somebody might look at that coffee cup and see an opportunity to create a coffee shop. And we know that people have done that. Somebody might look at that coffee cup and create a three or four coffee shops. But then someone looked at that coffee cup and created a Starbucks,
I love that.
right? And that to me is not the coffee cup, it's not the coffee shop, it's how you look at that. And so, no matter what opportunity you're pursuing, whether it's in your career, in your life, in any destination, I really feel that has to happen. And then the final thing, this is something really powerful, is if you don't know where you're going, then you'll reach wherever you don't want to. And that is secret, visualization, manifestation. So every year when I start, or every 1 or 2 years, I write in vivid detail what should be happening, sometimes in my life, but a lot of times, at least in the business life. So when we started Poshmark, there's a December 2012 vision, and it says, Julie wakes up, she opens a package, and the package is coming this way. This is before we had written one line of code. And these papers exist. In 2018, June, I wrote, I think we went public in that Poshmark is now a public company. Here's sort of the things that are happening. Here's a number of countries we're present in. So you have to sort of visualize the future. And it may take, sometimes you think it may take 6 months, it may take 2 years, sometimes it may take 2 years, it may take 6 months. But if you don't know where you're going, how will you reach there? And I would say that needs to be happen for everything, because sometimes writing that document is one of the hardest exercises you do. Because imagine if you could order anything, you could do anything. What do you want?
Yeah.
It's so hard,
Yeah.
right? And so that to me is really really the last thing, is with all of these pieces, a lot of times people forget to do that first exercise, and my kids get frustrated because they're like, Dad, what should I do? I said, but what do you really want to do? And actually when they sit down and they write it, they almost always get where they want to go. But a lot of time the confusion is you're going forward as opposed to knowing where you want to go and then working backwards.